16-year-old injecting tren baloney in the gym.
He's in the middle of the gym with a vial and a needle. And this is allowed
Bro's not going to make it completely cooked
on Instagram. And frankly, I don't care if this kid is 26, 36. I've never been at the gym with a vial and a needle and shown a video and tried to glorify drug use. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we have a 16-year-old.
Where's the kid's parents? Do you know what would happen to me if I ever did some bullshit like this? It wouldn't even cross my mind.
Who's on steroids, and not only that, he's bragging about it to the world. Literally injecting it in the middle of the gym. They need to kick these kids out. They shouldn't allow this on social media. It starts with his name, Zaid Tren. Where do you think he comes up with his name? Do you think maybe he was influenced by the Tren twin?
He might be lying about his age. Some OnlyFans creators do that as well. They'll just be 27 and say that they're 19 for that shock factor.
What do you think is happening? People see their idols and they're using steroids, and so they're motivated to do the same. And they're thinking, well, why would I wait? I want to be famous right now. And the younger they use steroids, the bigger advantage they have. And so social media, of course, it shows the top 1% of the...
I mean, high schoolers are blasting and cruising in some cases. Sports teams, football, wrestling, 100%.
1%. And so, of course, if you're 16 years old and you're on steroids, people are going to notice you. Your physique is going to have more muscle than everyone else. You're going to be bigger than everyone, but you're going to suffer the consequences. And so it might seem like a good idea right now, but your brain, it hasn't even finished developing. And so I'm certain this kid is going to get a whole bunch of followers. People are going to be looking up to him. But where are his parents? And so parents, shame on you.
That was my first question.
Maybe he has no parents.
Got John Bravo in chat. Huge!
And for that, I feel bad for him. But if you're a parent and you're watching this right now, you need to tell your kid you're deleting that account and you're going to stop taking steroids. You're the parents. You put down the rules. If they want to live in your house, it's under your rules. They can't use illegal steroids when they're 6.
Notice how Greg is not doing his content creator voice? This is natty Greg in his natural habitat.
16, they're not ready. Don't allow them to do this. How is this different than if your 16-year-old posted a video and said, I'm sniffing creatine? Perhaps even just drinking alcohol. I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it's a class 1 carcinogenic. It's literally poison. And so how do you let your kids poison themselves? Like, you have one job as a parent, the main job. Well, I guess you have more than one, but I would consider one of the main jobs as a parent is to make your kids be safe, to protect.
Finally answering why he sounds like that. That's right, because this is a serious topic.
Them. This is why you had kids in the first place. This is your job as a parent. Now, I don't have kids, but if I did, I think that I would try to protect them from harm's way. And that includes doing harm to themselves. 16 years old, 500 tests, and 50 megs of Anavar. This is the dad cycle. Did he in fact watch Coach?
The dad cycle? I just hate the broification of fitness. In many ways, it's beautiful. But instead of calling it what it is, they'll name it a protocol, which kind of takes the oomph out of the fact that you're using drugs.
Coach Greg and Al Dura discuss and debate whether or not people should use performance-enhancing drugs. Al Dura said,
more testosterone than last time.
I said, I think everyone should experience living.
Still can't get over the fact that synthetic test comes from soy. Yeah, and usually it's suspended in seed oils too.
10 years longer than last time. He says, no, you would trade everything in order to have what you have. He said, we're millionaires, we're famous, and it's all from testosterone. When you're sick and you're not healthy and you've taken years off your life, you would trade every penny, every cent you've ever had in order to get that time back. If you have $100 billion and you know that you could give that money away to get your health back, you would. And so when you use performance enhancing drugs, 500 milligrams of test and 50 milligrams of Anavar at 16, you're taking years away from your life. You're starting way too young. Your brain isn't even finished developing. Did this kid watch Coach Greg and Dura's debate? And perhaps I didn't win the debate. And so...
You don't think Ronnie Coleman regrets anything?
Dura won, and the result of that, he's on the dad cycle. Now remember, Dura said dad cycle, not son cycle. This is for your dad, and regardless of that, this is a lot. I'm on HRT, 140 milligrams of test a week. This kid's on over triple my dose of testosterone and on 50 milligrams of Anavar, and that's a day. It's not in a week. He's 16. He doesn't need this. Even if he thought he needed it, the dose is way too high. It's ridiculous. Even if I were coaching a bodybuilder,
I wonder if it's even real. It might be grade A rage bait.
and said, you know, a guy was in his late 20s, 30s, whatever. And he says, I'm going to do my first cycle. I'm going to do 500 milligrams of test and 50 Anavar. It's too much. That is perhaps the second cycle, although I could think of better.
Money walking. I don't know.
It's not a beginner cycle, and a 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever age you are, it's too much. I do believe it's similar to what Chris Bumstead did at his first cycle at 18.
No way he is 16, complete cap. Something's fishy.
It's too much. The physique is ridiculous. It looks amazing, but it's a physique of a 26-year-old, not a 16-year-old. If he was 100% natural, I still think he would have a great physique. You don't need to...
This kid is going to be bald and look 40 at the age of 20, though. Yeah, it's a short life here on social media.
Do this in order to stand out. You don't need this. It's sad that people this young think they need to take steroids in order to be seen or to be noticed by the rest of the world. It really is sad. I don't understand how this is happening, where the parents are, the friends.
How is it happening? I mean, have you looked at these algorithms? The glorification of roids? Get muscles, money, and bang whores? Dude, it's the perfect life. Which way, Western man?
Keeps on getting worse. I mean, he flexes, he goes through his pose, he looks great, and he gives the camera the finger, look how cool I am. He rebels, probably gets more girls, and when he's 18, people are going to not care. At 16, oh, it's too young, but at 18, they're going to cheer for him. Oh, yeah, you should win a bodybuilding contest. It's cool because you want to be a bodybuilder. The only reason he has that much muscle is because he's abused steroids for several years.
The tojification of fitness.
Do it natural first. And you're going to say, I'm a hypocrite because I use steroids. I was in my 30s when I started. I did 42 shows natural first. And so if you can wait it out until you're in your 30s.
Holy buckets! Subs dropping everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, and Kick.
And compete, not 42 times, let's call it 5 times natural first. And then you decide to do it. Well, you're a grown adult. You make your own decisions. Perhaps you'll regret them when you're older, like myself at 49, regret taking steroids. But at least you waited. But at 16, I don't think there's anyone that can argue with me and make a point and say, yeah, that's a smart move. He should start right now. I don't care how good his genetics are. I don't care if he's the next Mr. Olympia. He could wait. And so if this 16-year-old says, you know,
It's just no aura.
Love bodybuilding so much that I'm willing to risk my health. It takes even more.
Dude, all these bodybuilders make that dumbass face too, though. Like they're sucking on a lemon.
More courage to love it so much.
The eyes are just craving attention.
That you're not going to take those drugs, even though you know if you take them that you'll win. That really takes courage. It's a lot easier to be C-Bum or Sam Sulik or the Tren twins, Larry Wheels. You go down the list and take the steroids and get the physique and get the admiration from your fans, from your...
I don't believe Greg when he says he regrets taking gear. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Followers and so on. But to not do it and stay smaller, knowing that if you take those drugs, you could win right now. You have to have a lot of self-esteem, self-courage, self-love to not do and take the things that are going to hurt your health, but that are going to give you an immediate reward. 42 shows natural. I knew after...
I don't even know if that's true. We're lost in the soy sauce here.
Every single one of those shows that if I took the things, that I would have an immediately much better physique. It's hard to not take it. It was hard not to take.
Is Philion on other platforms? YouTube, Twitch, and Kick multi-streaming. If you want to know where the support is the greatest, one-to-one, kick.com.
Taken, and eventually I did. Once I reached my natural genetic limit and I couldn't get any better, I decided I'm going to use performance-enhancing drugs. And did it work? Yep, I won my pro card. But I didn't start at 18. I didn't start at 19. I didn't start at 28 or 29. I waited till I was older. This kid is 16. Bro, that's still achievable naturally. It really pisses me off because, yeah, it's possible to
Cap. Press X to doubt.
get that physique naturally. There's maybe 1 in 10
No, it doesn't exist. You can't get it naturally.
or 100 million that can get that at 16 naturally. He couldn't. This is a much better physique than he could achieve at 16.
Holy buckets! The subs are dropping like crazy.
Could he have stayed natural and eventually got it 10 years later? Probably. But you can't just say that and have that as a motivational tool to have somebody not tap on. Oh, it's possible to do that natural. Yep. Yeah, okay. In 6 years, if I train my ass off, I have great genetics, maybe I could do it. I want to do it in 6 months. The advice doesn't help. Awesome, bro. Finally, someone telling the truth. Just because you tell the truth, it doesn't...
See, the fake natty content sphere has become full circle. It was calling out fake natties, them responding in cringe manners, which fueled the content. Then it became, well, does it really matter if I'm on steroids, if I'm honest about it? Which, sure. You get more brownie points, I guess. It's still a retarded decision because you're sacrificing your health and you're getting instant gratification. Just goes against that natural feedback loop of hard work equals results over time. And then it became the glorification of being a fake natty and or steroid user, to the point where now they're just blasting on camera in the gym and making funk edits and just leaning into it. And then potentially lying about their age to make it seem more extreme.
doesn't make you a good influencer, a good role model.
Toji, Connor, and Shansbra are responsible for this. I don't know who's responsible for this, but they completely cooked a generation, I'll tell you that.
Or a good person. How does that make him special? He had no choice
It's just gay. Why are you putting something in your ass as a man? It's an exit only. To get juicy? Huh? It's a little sus, a little zesty, bro. So you can get pumped? Oh my god.
tell the truth. If he lied, everyone's going to say, you are a fake natty. And so how are we giving brownie points or some kind of morality for being honest about doing something that is excessively obvious? No, you don't get brownie points. You get brownie points if you're natural. He's 16 years old and says, you know what? I want to take steroids because I follow the Tren twins, Sam Sulek, Chris Bumstead, and I want that physique, but I'm not going to do it. I watched Coach Greg videos and he said I should wait. Now, I'm going to wait as long.
I think it's also a US thing. No, it's 100% a UK thing too. If anything, it's more egregious over there.
Long as I can. That is something that you should be admired for.
Don't forget about the Tren twins. Yeah, they're like 4'10", and they eat Tren bologna sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Dating. It's the same thing as this. People say, I would never cheat on my wife. I would never cheat on my girlfriend. I have such better morals than you. Says the guy who's ugly and not a single girl ever flirts with him ever. Damn! You're such a great human being because you don't
Italian, Mediterranean, olive-skinned old men aesthetic all the way.
cheat when you have absolutely zero opportunity to do so. Bragging about your morality because you don't have the opportunity to ever be bad, what does that even mean? And so stop with the virtue signaling already. Guys, why does my creatine taste a little weird? Are you freaking kidding me? He's got a bottle of tren in there. He's bragging about this in a video. He's got a bottle of tren, bottle of test.
He's still small, though. Imagine.
Hidden in his creatine. Perhaps because when you're living with your parents, you don't want them to discover your bottle of tren and test because they might take it. I'm sure there's a lot of teenagers out there hiding their alcohol, their marijuana, whatever drugs that they're doing, and they don't want their parents to find it. And so they're hiding it in their creatine. This is on Instagram. People can see it. He's bragging about using steroids.
Yeah. Huge problem here is platforms allowing this content in the first place. It's actual drug use.
And so the number one comment here I'm reading, look natural. Let's analyze what that would do. Okay, and so he's 16 years old. He's taking steroids.
Destroying his balls just to be mid could never be me.
And the number one comment he sees is you look natural. What do you think that encourages him to do? Well, I better take even more. Try to put yourself in their shoes.
Not only do they allow it, they push it to children. That's right.
Can you not think like a child, a 16-year-old, and think, what message is this creating? So the more you scroll on social media, the worse it's going to get. People on social media, they don't give a shit. Somebody gets in a bike accident, paralyzed. Comments could be, you deserved it. You're on a bicycle. Imagine if it was your brother or your sister, your mom or your dad. Yeah, they shouldn't be speeding, but just because you're speeding, you don't cheer for their demise. Normalize pinning in the gym. Why don't we normalize being natural? Why don't we normalize that
This guy needs to train his neck. Is that 2 plates?
using tren at 16 is not the way?
That's it?
Hey, why don't we normalize that Togi should not be the influence of our youth?
This is a problem. This is a massive problem.
He's in the middle of the gym with a vial and a needle. And this is allowed on Instagram, yet I get kicked off of TikTok and I get shadow casted, shadow banned, whatever on Instagram. And frankly, I don't care if this kid is 26, 36. I've never been at the gym with a vial and a needle and shown a video and tried to glorify drug use. This is
Waiting for the Turk VSL. You think he'll have it? It might be too serious of a topic.
glorifying drug use. And in many countries, it's illegal. If he's in the United States, steroids are not legal. It's Canada, it's legal. But you're not going to sit there in the middle of the gym and
Normalize being natty? You first.
use it in front of everyone. And so the number one comment is not too late to delete this kid. I don't know if he means delete the video kid or delete the kid itself. Like,
Context clues would indicate the video.
if this kid in general was not on social media, it would be a net positive to social media. He shouldn't be allowed to do this. Now, of course, everyone can make mistakes. We don't know if it's his parents' fault, his group of friends, whatever, but it's not too late. He can stop. Now, he might end up needing to be on HRT, might have all kinds of problems, shorten his life, and so on. But we have to give him a chance. Perhaps he'll see this video and he'll reconsider his actions. And in the words of Joey Swole,
Yeah, right. It's only gonna get worse. Enjoy the circus while it's here.
You need to do better.
gear to bench 2 plates for reps. He's 16. Not many 16-year-olds can bench press 225 for a single rep. It's very impressive he was doing it with ease. Most people at 16 would need steroids to do this exact very thing. And to have this physique, it's very rare.
Pretty sure I benched 225 for 1 at 16.
There are many people who are in their 20s, 26 years old, training 10 years, who cannot easily bench press 225 for several reps. Taking gear to max out at 5 reps of 2 plates is wild. He's 16. He probably just started the steroids. In a year, he'll be doing 3 plates, and then 4, perhaps someday even 5. And then he'll have horrific acne. His balls will be smaller, his liver, kidneys, it'll be a mess. It's probably going to have an enlarged heart. He's going to end up with horrendous blood work and take off 20 years from his life. It's not a big deal. I need to really impress that stranger from Bangladesh that wrote in the comment section that 225 for 5 isn't impressive at 16. You need to stop caring about what people think. The people who are in the comment sections, they're not your friends. Your friends are your
Kid is Tokyo drifting to the grave.
friends. Ask your friends. And if your friends think it's cool to abuse steroids at 16, find new friends. Make sense? Where did you get the gear? And so
There was a kid in my high school that hopped on gear from the start. Like, he didn't even try lifting. And he got enormous and scary looking. But his lifts were all out of whack. Like, he could bench 315. But he couldn't even squat 225. I wonder if he's alive right now.
we have people trying to source gear, trying to buy steroids at 16. Remember, you're too young to use steroids at 16.
Apparently he bought them off a Russian website. I swear to God.
Do not try to buy steroids at 16. And someone tries to call him out. You're not 16, bro. Probably doesn't believe him because he has that much muscle. But remember, steroids can often make you look older, both physically in your face and in your body. It can kind of age you, per se. And so his next post, 7-month gear transformation. And so you can see he had a little bit more body fat, well over 20% body fat, still had a decent amount of muscle. And you can see he dieted down significantly. And so he took steroids for 7 months, lost a heck of a lot of body fat, and perhaps even put on some muscle at the same time. And in order to get this kind of transformation, he would have had to have been in a severe calorie deficit. He's likely sitting at single-digit body fat, and so very difficult to put on muscle. I believe he could have a much better physique if he was not trying to be so lean. The pressures of social media to have a clearly defined six-pack, to be this lean. Remember,
I don't even think he cares, bro. He's just cruising and lifting and eating. It's really all you have to do.
he's not even competing. He's essentially using steroids to cover or mask the fact that he's not eating enough calories. If he had a calorie surplus, a little bit over maintenance, he could put on more muscle. Bro is very, very lean. Perhaps he's at 8% body fat, perhaps 9%. I can't tell. You don't see his legs. And so it says, worth it. What was the stack? And so this is why it's not worth it. And
Lost body fat and grew a duck face.
I want you to understand this. Once you move the goalpost,
Boys that hop on steroids do it for the boys. Women don't even care. That's right.
you have to move it again. It's never going to go back. If he had stopped to cut 10 pounds shy of this, he would have felt amazing. But once you get down to, say, 8% body fat, and then he goes back to, say, 12% body fat, he's going to feel fat at 12. Once you use steroids and you feel the feeling of those steroids, it's very difficult to stop using them because you're going to remember how strong you were.
Arnold was on The View talking about immigration. Is it based or cringe?
How much muscle you could put on, the pumps you were getting. And so it's hard to go and train back as normal. And so if you use steroids at 16 and you decide to someday quit, you're likely never going to enjoy powerlifting, bodybuilding ever the same. It'll never be the same again. It's like having sexy time without a condom and then putting it on after that. It's not going to be the same.
Huh?
So my advice, don't get on steroids in the first place and don't diet to 8% body fat for no reason when you're 16. You don't need to do this. Nice. I love to worship young, big, muscular guys. You are the perfect alpha male.
Found the gay Indian.
And so PDF files, you're going to get guys like that. This is who you're going to attract. You don't need to have 8% body fat to attract a girl. And in fact, most are going to say, you know, this is too lean. And so 10 to 12% body fat, that's a good range for the highly aesthetic, highly motivated people who are in their 20s. But for teenagers, it's so far below what's healthy. I mean, do y'all remember Tristan Lee? How did that turn out? Tristan Lee was on the carnivore diet. He was starving himself. He ended up with
Totally natty, by the way.
body dysmorphia. Do anyone think he's actually...
Remember Tristan Lee was like 12 for 5 years? Surely you guys remember that, right?
natural at this point. This is not good. He's not ready. 16 years old, 500 test, 80 tren, 50 milligrams of Anavar. He's on his second cycle, and he's
This kid's on gear, but Tristan's natty? Okay. Make it make sense, dude.
added in 80 milligrams of tren. Tren puts on about 3 times as much muscle as test. So 80 milligrams of tren, it's going to put on about the same amount of muscle as 240 milligrams of test.
I remember there was a group of guys at my OG gym that were on tren. And when you see a meathead in person with a skin-splitting pump, it doesn't make sense.
It also messes with your mind. If you don't believe me, just look at my kids are telling.
It looks painful, honestly.
Look at the videos that he's made. He talks about it. The anger, the irritability, the aggression, the anxiety. Remember, I've used these performance-enhancing drugs, but I was in my 30s and 40s. This guy is 16. This cycle, it's too strong. 80 milligrams of tren at 60. It's just no. For no reason ever should you be on tren as a teenager. I mean, even if you're going to say it's
But he's short, said a moron, talking about Tristan Lee. He's 4 feet tall.
okay to use steroids, not tren. No.
Stop it! Stop being a moron!
Now, here's the thing. Even if he had a much worse physique than this, and even if he were 26 and he took steroids, and somebody said all those steroids just to look like that, that also really bothers
Just to get some popcorn muscle. That's all it is.
me, and here's why. Most people who take steroids are not professional bodybuilders.
Jesus, if he wants to fight other 16-year-old dudes, they have a problem. Nah. A decent high school wrestler would probably destroy him.
They're not even aspiring bodybuilders. They're just guys that want to look average. People just want to fit in. They want to feel normal. They want to go to the beach and take their shirt off and not have everyone make fun of them. The majority of people who use steroids are below average. And you're thinking, no, they all look amazing. They're all crazy. The truth is,
There's a 30-year-old in my gym who takes this shit and can't even bench 225. My friend and I try to rage bait him by repping his PR while saying, imagine not being able to bench this shit. I really hope that's true.
They just want to feel normal. They want to be seen. They want to fit in. They want to get a girlfriend. They want to be looked at for once in their life. And so if you go to the gym and you look around, you're going to see, oh, those 2 guys, they're definitely on steroids. That girl, definitely on steroids. But the rest of the people, they look natural. But yet many of them, they are not. And so, for example, when you look at the bikini competition, the girls competing in bikini, most of them are on steroids. They look natural.
This shit is sad. I know some girls that have become female bodybuilders. It's not good, dude. One of them has the Frieza voice. The other one is looking at health complications. For what? Why? Both of these girls, too. Pretty. Can do many different things with their lives. But they land on this.
But they're on steroids. They're not on such high doses that they're perhaps growing a mustache.
Why do you want to become a praying mantis? With a huge clit.
Or having a beard or balding. But if you take too many steroids, you're going to be in the audience saying, "Go, David! Go, David!" Slowly you try.
Is that his real voice? Or is that edited in post? I've never heard him try a voice before.
Mustache or having a beard or balding. But if you take too many steroids, you're going to be in the audience saying, "Go, David! Go, David!" Slowly you transition.
Yeah, the Leila Hormozi. Have you guys heard that voice? Check this out.
Hello, monkeys!
Very hard for me in the beginning to deal with negativity online. Number one thing for me, my voice. This was really tough when like a TikTok video would hit off and there would be like 1,000 comments saying like, are you on steroids, are you a tranny, are you a smoker? And I was like, wow.
What a beautiful chocolate woman!
Nobody even listens to the content. I had a conversation with Alex where I said like, I hate that this bothers me. It doesn't change what I'm doing, but I am bothered.
Her voice isn't that deep. It's pretty grating. You'll hear it more in other videos.
Being ashamed of what people say about you on the internet doesn't help, because I think anything you don't talk about has power to reach.
And then we called the church and we're like, hey, can you marry us? And they were like, are you sure? This is really fast. With Leila, I had just gotten out of like a 5-year engagement. And so I was just not really even.
It's the early morning hangover voice. That's right.
Wanting an open relationship.
Oh my God. Holy buckets. What do you mean it's not that deep?
Wanting an open relationship. And I'm not the kind of woman who's like, oh, my husband should never look at he never looks at another woman. I assume that Alex looks at other women because he's a man. Like, that is what men do. Like, we're humans, right? That's a human thing. And I think what I subscribe to is that if you want a relationship to last, then you have to create more reasons to
Oh my God.
stay with the person than to not, because there's always reasons not to be with somebody. Freedom, autonomy, you want to go bang other people, whatever it is. We have all these human instinctual things that are pulling us in one.
Gay. Imagine not wife maxing.
When you add steroids as a female, you slowly start turning into a man.
Doesn't Hormozi claim natty too? He did for a long time, but he's on that convenient TRT stack now.
And so for the men,
She's Frieza-pilled. How else are these women gonna take over planet Vegeta?
a lot of them are on the dad cycle. They're just on lower doses. Perhaps it's a couple 100 milligrams of test, some Anavar and so on, and they just want to get a bit of an advantage.
More like Hormozi.
Maybe they want to put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle. Just because you're on steroids, you're not going to look like Eric Janicki. You're not going to turn into Chris Bumstead. You're probably not even going to look like me. Can I take tren, Anavar, and test in my first cycle? His response?
Is that a Guts Berserk profile pic? I swear to God, Gen Alpha and younger Gen Z kids get one-shotted by anime. Oh, I'm gonna be the real-life Baki!
Yeah. I mean, technically, you can do anything you want as long as you're not breaking the law. But should you? And so, can you take tren in your first cycle? You could, but no one should. Does that make sense? You can.
Hello, monkeys.
But you shouldn't. At 16, you shouldn't even be taking Turk Builder Max and Geo2 Max.
Oh my God, here we go with the VSL. You called it.
For when you get older, when you're an adult, I certainly hope that anyone who's trained good enough to not take the drugs that you know you could take to help you win. Wait. You love it. You love the process, the journey, the training, the challenge. That's what it's all about. Taking steroids is a shortcut, and it can and will dramatically shorten your life.
So true. Let's end it on that note.